better if you use the tools we have spent good money on and bother to take the time to loosen the dirt around the weeds before pulling them. When you yank them willy-nilly, you only do the weeds a favor of leaving their roots behind to grace us with their ungainly presence after the next rainfall. Why do the weeds a favor by making things easier for them?
Why, indeed.
If I have learned one thing in my 19 summertime grandial, it is that one must always think ahead. We have neither time nor money to waste on ignorance and apathy. Our guests expect perfection, and we achieve it in many ways. And first and foremost, our preventative measures. Remember that, Mooney? Preventative measures.
Oui, monsieur. Preventative measures I shall not forget.
What was that, Mooney?
Oh, nothing to interest you, monsieur.
Well, would it be of interest to Mother in that case?
If it pleases monsieur, I should like to fulfill my required duties and admit Madame's guest.
Now, Mooney, we don't have to be proper in all walks of life, do we? Besides, you've been tossing about in the dirt all day and are hardly in a presentable enough state to answer the gate. I will be pleased to perform the service myself. Mrs. Pontellier.
Hello, Victor.
What a wonderful surprise. How well you look. Monique, run inside and tell Mother that Mrs. Pontellier is here and desires to see her. Monique. Monique, did you know what I said?
Oh, oui, monsieur.
Then why are you failing to carry out your duty?
I was under the impression, monsieur, that monsieur would please himself to carry out my duties. I don't see why I should do part of my duty when I am not permitted to do it all.
In all my 19 years of experience, never have I witnessed anything close to the kind of insolence I've seen here today, and in my own home. Never have I wanted to beat the innards out of any woman more than I want to beat them out of you right now! If you value your job at the LeBrun residence, an enviable position that others would sell their mothers for, mind you, you'll pick those worthless products up off the ground, go inside, find my mother, and tell her that Mrs. Pontellier is here and desires to see her! I'm sorry you had to see that. Monique's offensive conduct is due entirely to improper training, as I am not here to take her in hand. I assure you, things would be much different if I lived here all winter, but I live in Perennial. You understand, there must be someone to keep up the resort and get it ready for the summer residents.
Yes. Leonce has always been very fond of your handling of situations. He always says I'm too soft and permissive with the servants. I should give them a good verbal thrashing now and again, keep them on their toes.
Well, Mr. Pontellier is a very wise man.
Show me the letter, please.
Oh, no.
Have you answered it?
No.
Show me the letter.
It is growing late. What time do you have to come?
It doesn't concern me. Your question seems a little rude. Play from the game.
You told me nothing of yourself. What are you doing here?
I am becoming an artist. Take it.
An artist. You have pretensions, madame.
Pretensions? My pretensions? You do not think that I could be an artist?
I do not know you well enough to say. I don't know your talent, and I do not know your temperament. You know, to be an artist includes much. One must possess many gifts, absolute gifts which have not been acquired by one's own effort. And moreover, to succeed, the artist must possess the courageous soul.
What is the courageous soul?
Courageous, ma foi. The brave soul. The soul that dares and defies.
Show me the letter. And play for me the impromptu, please. I have persistence. Does that quality not count for anything in art?
It counts. It counts with a foolish old woman who you've captivated.
Make sure all necessary fabrications are taken care of.
Whatever will the family think? Our friends? The sister of the bride training her husband to execute his dirty work? I doubt it, Janet will let me speak to you again. I'm sure Martin will not.
I am well aware of the potential consequences of my actions.
And you are not even
No, I'm not. I don't want to go to the wedding, and I'm not going, that's all.
Pontellier, why do you say nothing?
Edna is your wife. You can't possibly agree with her behavior.
Edna does as she pleases, regardless of my advice, Colonel.
I'm going to bed. Good night, Charlie. See you off in the morning.
It's funny, I've noticed you about town for several years, but I'd always deemed you to be unapproachable until that night you came to the jockey club with your father. And now that we've become such intimate friends, now that I've come to know you, I cannot help but think how different life would have been if I had approached you all those years ago.
Different for whom, Alma?
Why, for both of us. But mostly for you. I might not have entertained such a wicked and ill-guided youth if I had had your womanly wonders to work their virtue over me.
Yes, I'm well aware of your reputation on the club scene.
A saber cut. I received it in a duel outside of Paris at the age of 19. All for a woman. But I've always been one to say that there is no better compliment to bear her than love for a woman.
The sight of a wound or scar agitates and sickens me. I shouldn't look at it.
I beg your pardon. I never imagined it might be repulsive. Good night, Edna. Will you go to the races again?
I don't want to lose all of the money I've won. I've got to work again when the weather's
Yes, for work. To be sure, you promised to show me your work. What morning may I come up to your atelier? Tomorrow?
No.
The day after?
No.
Oh, please. Don't refuse me. I know something of such things. I may be able to help you out with a stray suggestion or two.
Good night. Why don't you leave after you've said good night? I don't like you.
I'm sorry if you don't like me. I'm sorry if I've offended you. How have I offended you? What have I done? Can't you forgive me?
If I were young and in love with a man, it seems to me he would have to be some sort of Gondesprit, a man with lofty aims and the abilities to reach them, who stood high enough to attract the attention of his fellow men. If I were young and in love, it seems to me I should never deem a man of ordinary caliber worthy of my devotion.
Now it is you who's lied and seeking to deceive me. Or else you have never been in love and know nothing about it. Why does a woman know why she loves? Does she select? Does she say, here too, here is a distinguished statesman with presidential possibilities. I shall proceed to fall in love with him. Or this musician whose fame is on everyone's tongue. Or this financier who controls the world's money markets.
You are purposely misunderstanding me, Martha. Are you in love with Robert?
Yes.
Why do you love him when you ought not to, huh?
Why? Because his hair is brown, and it grows away from his temples. Because he has two eyes, that open and close, and a square chin, and a nose not drawn, and a finger that doesn't work properly from having played baseball too energetically in his youth.
In short, you do. What will you do when he comes back?
I feel glad and happy to be alive. You will tell me that I'm adorable when everything that is happening with me. Spare yourself the effort.
No. I shall tell you nothing of the sort, though I shouldn't be lying, right?
Do you know Mademoiselle Reese?
Yes. I know her by sight. I've heard her play.
She says queer things sometimes, in a bantering way. You don't really notice at first, but then you find yourself thinking about later on. You know, for instance. left your house today, she put her arms around my shoulder to see if my wings were strong, she said. A strong bird who can fly above the level plane of tradition and prejudice must have strong wings. It's a sad spectacle to see the weaklings, bruised and bandaged, flying after them.
Whither would you soar?
No, I'm not thinking of any extraordinary flights. I only half comprehend them.
I've heard she's partially demented.
She seems to me wonderfully sane.
Oh, no. I'm told she's extremely disagreeable and unpleasant. Why have you brought her up at a time when I desire to speak of you?
Speak of me if you like. Let me think of something else while you do.
I'm jealous of you, also. They're making you a bit kinder than usual. Somehow I feel as if I'm not here.
It was but one phase of the multitudinous emotions which had assailed me on that strange evening. It was a shock of the unexpected. An overwhelming feeling of irresponsibility. But above all, it was understanding. As if a mist had been lifted from my eyes, enabling me to look upon and comprehend the significance of my life. This monster of beauty and brutality. I felt neither shame nor remorse. Only a dull pang of regret that it was not the kiss of love that had inflamed me. Because it was not love that had held this cup of lifetimes. Yes, it's brand new. A gift from my husband. I must admit that it is my birthday and I am 29. In good time I shall have you all drink to my health. Meanwhile, let me interest you in this drink composed. What do you say composed? Composed by my father in honor of Sister Janet's wedding.
Well then, all things considered, it might not be amiss to start by drinking the Colonel's health. In the drink which he composed on the birthday of the most charming of women, the daughter whom he invented.
Edna, your father's drink is so lovely to behold. I feel compelled to leave it untouched before me just to look at it. The color is marvelous. Very pink in color rather than in color.
It's a great image of desire, painted with red blood on a ground of gold.
Sing. Won't you sing for us?
Let him alone.
No, he's posing. Let him have it out.
I believe it's paralyzed.
Yes, I'll sing for you. Ah, si tu savais.
No, don't sing that. You mustn't sing that.
Ah, si tu savais.
Stop that. Don't sing that.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Hunt. I didn't know you meant it.
Posed long enough. Mrs. Highcamp first.
You've done too much in the past few days. The party was the last straw. It's worn you out.
So stupid.
No, it was delightful. But it has worn you out.
I thought you were going away.
I am. After I've said goodnight.
In some ways, you seem to me like a child, Edna.
You seem to act without a certain amount of reflection which is necessary in this life. That is why I want to say you mustn't mind if I advise you to be a little careful while you're living here alone. Couldn't you have somebody come and stay with you? Wouldn't Mademoiselle Reese come?
She wouldn't want to come. And I shouldn't always want her with me.
Well, the reason, you know how evil-minded the world can be. Somebody was talking about, I'll say Agobon visiting you. Of course it wouldn't matter if he hadn't such a dreadful reputation. Alphonse was telling me his attentions alone are enough to ruin a woman's name.
Does he boast of his successes?
No, I think not. I believe he's a decent fellow as far as that goes. But his character is so well known among the men. I shan't be able to come back and see you. It's very, very imprudent today.
Do you mind this time?
Don't neglect me. And don't mind what I said about I'll say Apelbaum, or about somebody coming to stay with you.
Of course not. You can say anything you like. Come in.
What happened to be here? Mademoiselle Reese not here. I never expected to see you.
Why did you get back?
Please, take the couch. It's okay to be comfortable. I'll take it. You returned the day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday. The day before yesterday! And if you had not seen me here, then hadn't you planned on coming to see me?
Yes. I'll say Harabon. It's his picture, duplicate.
I tried to make a sketch of his head one day, and you thought the photograph might help. I thought I left it at the other house, so I must have brought it over with my
I
sketch.
should think you would give it back to him if you finished with it.
I haven't created such many photographs. They don't amount to anything. I never think of returning them.
I find his head worth drawing. Is he a friend of Mr. Pontellier's? You never said you knew him.
No. He isn't a friend of Mr. Pontelier's. He's a friend of mine. I always knew him. Look, it is of late that I know him pretty well. So enough about me. What about you? What have you been seeing and doing and feeling all these days in Mexico?
Seeing the waves and white beach of Grenada. Quiet grassy street of the Cheniere. And the fort of Grand Terre. Working like a machine, feeling like a lost soul. Nothing interesting. How about you? What have you been doing and seeing and feeling all these days?
The waves and the white beach, Grenada. The grassy streets of the Cheniere and the old fort of Grand Terre. I've been working with a little more comprehension than a machine, and still feeling like a lost soul. There is nothing interesting.
They're so cruel. Just not today.
Now you know. You know what I've been fighting against since last summer. Drove me away, drove me back.
But why have you been fighting against it?
Why? You're not free. You're Leon's Pontellier's wife. I'm not loving you if you were 10 times as well.
He's getting too old and careless. He said he'd be here at 7:30. Now it must be 8. See what time it is, Josephine.
Have courage and patience, madame.
Oh, this is too much. Mansla has to be killed. Where is Alphonse? Is it possible I'm to be neglected by everyone, abandoned like this?
Neglected indeed. Am I not here? And your friend, Mrs. Pontellier, who is leaving no doubt a pleasant evening at home to devote to you. And is it Monsieur Rattino walking all the way to the store for your medicine? And I'm quite sure I just heard Dr. Mantelet's call.
Mrs. Pontellier. I hope Adele has not been too rough on you. As her doctor, I'm accustomed to such unupbraidings at these occasions. But I am sure to her loyalty to doubt it.
Adele's just fun.
Adele has some time left. I'm so happy to see you, Mrs. Pontellier. Would you like to escort me to the salon and entertain me with some of your conversation?
No, not allowing it to leave for an instant. My mind keeps...
Very well, madame. Very well. You will have your wish. I will not think to deny you at this time.
No, I'm not going abroad. I don't want to do anything I don't want to do. I want to be let alone. No one has any right, except children, of course. And Ned, it seems.
The trouble is that youth is given up to illusion, a provision of nature, a decoy to secure the mothers for the race. It does not take into account the moral consequences of arbitrary conditions which we create and which we feel to obtain and maintain at any cost.
The years that have gone by seem like dreams. One might go on sleeping and dreaming, to wake up and find... Well, one might go on sleeping, wake up after all, even to suffer rather than remain duped to illusions all one's life. What?
You seem to me like your child. You seem to be in trouble. Now, I won't ask for your confidence. I'll say this. If you feel moved to give it to me, perhaps I might help. I know I would understand. There are not many words right there.
I love you. Bye. Alice, I love you.
Hello. I walked up from the wharf and heard the hammering. And I figured it was you mending the porch. A good thing. I was always tripping over those loose planks last summer. How dreary and desolate everything looks.
But why have you come to Granville so early? Where's your family?
Come alone. And good lace luck. For no other reason than to rest.
Well, there's nothing fixed up yet, you see. I can give you my room. It's the only place.
Any corner will do.
And if you can stand Philomel's cooking. Though I might try to get her mother while you're here. Do you think she would come?
She might come for a few days, for money, you know.
Well, tell me your dinner. I'm very hungry, but I don't get anything extra.
I'll have it ready in little or no time. You can go to my room to brush up and rest yourself. Mariquita will show you the way.
Thank you. You know, I have a good notion to take a wash and a little swim before dinner.
The water's too cold. Don't think of it.
I might just try.
Dip my toes in.
The sun is hot enough to have warmed the very depths of the ocean. Could you get me a couple of towels? I'd better go right away. It's supposed to be back in time. Might be a bit too chilly if I wait until later this afternoon.
It's a little too chilly now, even to dip your toes in.
I hope you have fish for dinner. Don't get anything extra if you have.
Run and find Philommel's mother. I'll go to the kitchen and see what I can do. By Jiminy, women have no consideration. She might have sent me word.
Edna walked down to the beach rather mechanically, not noticing anything special, except that the sun was hot. She was not dwelling upon any particular train of thought. She had done all the thinking which was necessary after Robert went away, when she lay awake upon the sofa till morning. Despondency had come upon her there in the wakeful night, and had never lifted. There was no one thing in the world that she desired. There was no human being whom she wanted near her except Robert. And she even realized that the day would come when he too, and the thought of him, would melt out of her existence, leaving her alone. She now understood clearly what she had meant long ago when she said to Adele Ratignolle that she would give up the unessential, and she would never sacrifice herself for her children. The children appeared before her like antagonists who had overcome her, who had overpowered and sought to drag her into the soul's slavery for the rest of her days. But she knew a way to elude them. She was not thinking these things when she walked down to the beach. The water of the Gulf stretched out before her, gleaming with the million lights of the sun. The voice of the sea is seductive, never ceasing, whispering, clamoring, murmuring, inviting the soul to wander in abysses of solitude. All along the white beach, up and down, there was no living thing in sight. A bird with a broken wing was beating the air above, reeling, fluttering, circling, disabled, down into the water. Think of the children, Edna. Think of the children. Remember them.
Did I raise you to show such a lack of filial kindness and respect?
The foamy wavelets curled up to her white feet and coiled like serpents around her ankles. She walked out. The water was chill, but she walked on. The water was deep, but she lifted her white body and reached out with the long, sweeping stroke. The touch of the sea is sensuous, enfolding the body in its soft, close embrace.
I love you. Goodbye, because I love you.
She went on and on. She remembered the night she swam far out and recalled the terror that seized her at the fear of being unable to regain the shore. She did not look back now, but went on and on, thinking of the blue grass meadow that she had traversed when a little child, believing that it had no beginning and no end. Her arms and legs were growing tired. She thought of Léonce and the children. They were a part of her life, but they need not have thought that they could possess her, body and soul. How Mademoiselle Reisz would have laughed, perhaps sneered if she knew. Exhaustion was pressing upon and overpowering her.
And you call yourself an artist? What pretensions, madame? The artist must possess the courageous soul that dares and defeats.
Exhaustion was pressing upon and overpowering.
I love you. Goodbye.
He did not know, he did not understand, he would never understand. Perhaps Dr. Mandelet would have understood if she had seen him.
blame yourself.
But it was too late. The shore was far behind her.
The children,
And her strength was gone.
Goodbye.
Talk of things it's not enough to take care of the children, then who's on earth is
Pretensions, madame, please.